Hello and welcome back to the Dugout podcast. This is episode number 84. You might be actually be getting two episodes today because of some scheduling errors. Yesterday's sort of review of the games. And today we're recording a review of the transfer window. We're going to be going through every single team. We have came up with a tier list and we're going to be ranking their sort of windows. So what our tiers are, we're going to worse off than they were before, bad, decent, sort of like fine, good window, had a positive window, and then if you and then one spot for the best window of all the teams in the SPFL. Of course, I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Ethan Barlow. Ethan, how are you doing, mate? And are you looking forward to reviewing all the transfers? It's been quite exciting in the Scottish Premiership.
Yes, it has. It was an exciting deadline day yesterday, for a lot of crazy things happening, multiple clubs, and yeah, it's exciting to always go through and look back across the month, or multiple months. I think we've done something similar possibly in the after the summer window. So yeah, these things are always exciting to look through and see how each club's fared throughout the transfer window. But yeah, I'm good. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. It was a busy day yesterday. There is a video on the TikTok detailing all the incomings in the January window yet on deadline day. Um, I after I uploaded it though, I realised I missed out Ben Brogio to Falkirk, and Aberdeen, of course, had to wait until I uploaded, and they announced the signing of Tom McIntyre today. So, um, you know that's a wee bit frustrating. There will be an outgoings video coming out later today. I've just had a little bit of trouble. I'm recently bought new mics, so I'm trying to figure out how they work properly. Because I think the video today they didn't work at all, and it was just phone audio. So that's what's going on with the TikToks. But we'll start on Livingston, and I'll just read out their sort of incomings and outgoings, and we can talk about it. So we brought in Joshua Zimmerman, a left winger. For a says I'm not 100% sure how accurate these are, but I'm going to go off the FOTMob valuations and fees that are being reported. So Joshua Zimmerman from Top Os for a fee of £249,000. They brought in Emmanuel Abim Danso, who for some reason FOTMob has said retired, but signed for Livingston on the 1st of January on a free transfer. They brought in Alex Tam on loan from Olympia Ljubljana until the end of the season. Scott Arfield on a free transfer as he terminated his contract with Falkirk. Babacar Fatih for a fee of around £249,000 from SJK Sinayoki, and Jamie Smith from Hamilton Accies on a free transfer. In terms of the players that left them during this window, Andy Winter went on loan to Wraith Rovers. Sean Donnellan left to go to Truro City. Shane Blaney went to Sligo Rovers on loan. Teti Yengi went on loan to Machida Zelvia. And Graham Carey went to Dunfermline Athletic on loan. And the loan of Mamadou Sissoko from Manchester City was also terminated. So unless I've missed anyone or FOTMob's missed anyone, Ethan, what do you make of Livingston's transfer window?
Yeah, I think you've got all the sort of main ones in there. A lot of players going out on loans being finished. Obviously, Sissoko is one of the main ones. He's been one of their sort of main players this season, so they would have had to replace him. Graham Carey, did you mention him? He's went. Yeah, you mentioned him. He's went on loan to Fairland. That's a big one. I don't think he's played that. He's not been as big a part as Sissoko, but that was one that I thought was a good signing in the summer. And Tete Yengi, never like his brother. It's just not been a great season for either of the Yengi brothers. So good for him to go and get a fresh opportunity somewhere else in Japan of all places. So But they brought a few decent players in. I'm not going to say I know a lot about them. Zimmerman, it says on Transfermarkt, is 100,000 euros. But he, I hope that he's a decent player for Livingston to spend a fee on a player. I believe there's only one team in the Scottish Premiership that didn't spend any money on a player in January, and we'll get on to them. Scott Arfield could be a pivotal player for Livingston if they are to stay up. Obviously, we've seen him already, scored his debut in the Scottish Cup. But apart from that, I don't know too much about the some of the other signings. So yeah, an okay window for Livingston. I think they've replaced possibly what they let go, but it looks like maybe slightly more departures than incomings, which maybe on the face of it looks concerning. But yeah, again, I don't know too much about some of these players that they're bringing in, so we'll have to find out because obviously they brought a lot of players in the summer and it's not really worked. So these guys that they're bringing in will need to come in and make an immediate impact to that starting 11. Alex, your mic's.
Oh, sorry. I was talking there and nothing, no noise was coming out. No, but it's an interesting window for Livingston, I think. Although if you want to look at it, you know, they've been active since the summer. I mean, bringing players in. So I just think that's all they can do. Try and strengthen their squad to try and stay up. And I think I'd put them in decent. What about you?
Yeah, I'd probably agree. Maybe Livingston fans could probably tell us better on what they needed and stuff like that. But from looking at it on the face of it, it looks okay. It doesn't look bad. Doesn't look great. They brought in loads of players from loads of different countries and leagues like they did in the summer. And if it's going to work out better this time, we'll have to. Otherwise, Marvin Bartley, David Martindale, who's obviously took a role upstairs at the club, will be trying to get them out of the championship next season, or whoever's in charge of the club.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Moving on now to Kilmarnock. Sorry, just give me a second. I had it up a minute ago. Okay. Kilmarnock have had a busy transfer window. They brought in Michael Schuning Larson from FCI Levadia, a left back on a free transfer. Keller-Roos on loan from Notts County. Nicky Klishenko for a reported fee of £166,000, a winger from Zimbru. 24 years old, Moldovan international. Finlay Curtis on loan from Rangers until the end of the season. Joe Hugel on a permanent transfer from Manchester United. And the return of Aaron Tishbola coming from Levadakios on a free transfer. In terms of their outgoings, FotMob only has one listed. Corey Armour going to Queen of the South. They obviously lost Toby Olawayemi, who ended up at Leyton Orient on a permanent deal. Did you see Leyton Orient signed Toby Olawayemi, Will Dennis, and Daniel Bachman? Oh no, it was Lincoln, sorry. Lincoln, I think it might have been, signed on three of those. It was Lincoln or Leyton, whatever one.
No, I think it was late. It was Leyton Orient that Olawayemi went to. Definitely, I thought that was a loan actually, but it probably makes sense that he goes on a permanent move. So yeah, but I think he was the probably the main blow for Kilmarnock. I know it's maybe one of the only players they lost, but he was the form player in that team when he was there. Obviously, they had to replace him because it was an emergency loan from Celtic. They've got Keller-Roos in. He didn't start his Kilmarnock career off very well at all, making that error against Dundee in the Scottish Cup to, well, you could say cost them that game, but obviously kept a clean sheet at the weekend in the massive win over Aberdeen. And then some of the other players have looked pretty solid so far. Michael Scoring Larson, the left back, who I think was playing right back at the weekend against Aberdeen, he looks okay. And then I don't think we've seen a lot of the other guys, but the fact they've not really let anyone go and they've brought in a few additions obviously makes the strong squad stronger without doubt. And yeah, the main one that's exciting me is I think I've said quite a lot of how good a signing this is, and possibly one of the best signings for any club across the Scottish Premiership is getting Finlay Curtis on loan until the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've talked him up a lot. I really rate him. Um, I feel like he could have gone to probably some higher up clubs in the division. But obviously, he's got that connection with Neil McCann, Billy Dodds. They did manage him. Neil McCann's spoken about him publicly many times. He absolutely loves him. So I think that's a good signing. I think Kilmarnock have had a decent window. You know, they've brought in areas that needed strengthened, I think, and that sort of in the attacking areas especially. You know, so I think it is. It's been a decent window from Kilmarnock, and I think I'll probably I'm thinking decent for them as well. What about you, Ethan?
I'm thinking maybe what is our tier above decent?
Good.
Good. What
So
what what
that's
was like?
that's
Remind me that I've completely forgot. What are our tiers again?
worse off than they were before.
Yeah,
Bad, decent, good, and then one spot for
best.
best.
I think Kilmarnock might be verging into good. I don't, because I think not to lose any of their players and then
Who would
bring
want
in.
any of their players?
That's a good point, but there's not been a trade-off there. They've just made the squad factually stronger on a numerical basis before you even see the quality of any of their players. And I think from what we've seen so far from the signings they've brought in, I know he wasn't brought in January, maybe just before on a free agent. John Jules has also been really positive. So yeah, I think they've done well, Kilmarnock. I'd say good, good in between good and decent maybe, but I'll go good for Kilmarnock. But I think we'll have to probably go decent if that's what you're thinking. But I think they're certainly in the upper echelons of decent.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would agree. They are. They're in the upper echelons of decent. I don't know if I'm quite ready. Maybe I'm being too harsh. We can revise this. It's not a blind ranking. It's not set in
Yeah.
stone towards. So we can maybe revise it at the end of the video. But I think I'll put them in decent for now. And then we can move on to St Mirren.
Moving on to the next team up, it's going to be St Mirren. We'll start with the outgoings for them, all loans, I believe, possibly. Well, actually, I'll need to
Well,
double
not
check.
Evan Mooney.
Yeah. I thought Evan Mooney was a permanent, but it doesn't. It says question mark here, so yeah, that's great. But yeah, Evan Mooney, obviously the big one, moving to Arsenal, an excellent move for him. Like another player we'll get on to going to one of the North London's big two. Then we've got two loans to Partick Thistle. It says here, Austin Smith, who obviously scored 2 goals in that big game against St Johnstone on Friday night, and Fraser Taylor, who also went to Partick Thistle. And then coming in for Stephen Robinson's team, you've got Jake Young, who comes in from Stevenage on a permanent deal, I believe. Obviously sent off in his debut, which is not a great start. Keon Etete from Cardiff on a loan deal. Jacob Devaney from Man United on a loan transfer, the 18-year-old. They picked up Alan Campbell, who didn't have a club. And then I think that might be it. Um,
Yeah, that is just about that, I think.
what's this? This is. Wait, did they? Well, this is complicated. Let me see. I have to check something with Ocean Smith. He is still
They
at.
they recalled him and then they sent him back out on loan.
Yeah, I think that's what it says here. I was just double checking that one, but yeah, I think they could have used. You could have used with his goals at the weekend, but I'm not too sure I know much about most of these guys that they brought in. Obviously, Alan Campbell, I know from when he played in Scotland before with Motherwell. But the rest of the guys, I think, are the element of unknown. Although the same vein as Kamara, they've not lost too many key players. Fraser Taylor, I think, sorry, a lot of St Mirren fans had realised that he isn't what they need to turn the screw and start scoring goals, and he needs a loan move. I've seen a few St Mirren fans saying he's not good enough for St Mirren, but obviously he's still only 22, so maybe he goes away to the Championship contenders and develops. And then Evan Mooney, they're going to get a big fee for him relative to how much he was playing this season. I don't think he started any of the games in the Premiership, so yeah, decent business for St Mirren.
Apparently it's a significant fee plus add-ons, future add-ons, plus they've got a sell-on clause on him, so good bit of business for St Mirren there.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. Obviously, we don't know too much what he's going to, what kind of role he's going to play at Arsenal. You'd imagine it'll be something in the under 23s or whatever it is down there in the Premier League too. But someone is saying 800k is the fee here. I don't know if that's accurate, and as you said, there could be add-ons, and they have a sell-on clause as well, which is always good. So yeah, excellent bit of business for St Mirren. That's probably the highlight of their window, and yeah, I think we'll have to see some more of the players that they brought in. Obviously, not a good start for them with Jake Young getting sent off at the weekend, as I mentioned, but they need goals, and they brought in two strikers, so. Stephen Robinson will be hoping they can find form and help steer them away from those relegation places.
Yeah, Jacob Devaney as well as the Manchester United under 21s captain at 18 years old. So, yeah, he's a good signing. I think I'm now going to switch because I want to put these guys into decent. I think Kilmarnock have had a better window than St Mirren, so I'm going to put St Mirren into decent and boost Kilmarnock up to good. What are your thoughts on it?
No, I agree with that. I think St Mirren is decent. It's not bad, but yeah, as you said, this is not a set thing. We'll obviously see as the season plays out how these transfer windows really rank. But this is a sort of blind ranking or going off the basic sort of base knowledge of the players that brought in. Probably most of them only played a handful of games, if any. So yeah, it's difficult to call, but I'd agree with that. I don't think it's been a bad window from a St Mirren point of view, and I think Kilmarnock's has possibly been a good one. So yeah, I'd agree with that. And Kilmarnock's getting promoted above St Mirren, which is not what the St Mirren fans will want to hear. In terms of the league table. But okay, we'll move on to the next team, I think, which would be Dundee, if I'm correct.
You are correct.
So we'll go to Dundee, and let me just pull them up on Transfermarkt to see what they've been doing. I think they were quite busy on deadline day yesterday. So yeah, they brought in Bradford right back, Brad Halliday on a free transfer. We've seen him make his debut at the weekend. Lewis Montsma, who was a deadline day signing, I think, from Lincoln City, the centre back. Joe Bevan from Burnley's under 21s, who's a centre forward who had that really poor debut at Ibrox when he played through Danilo, unfortunately, in that game, which Rangers won 3-0. Obviously, the return of Scottish football and the return to Dundee for Scott Wright from Birmingham City on a loan deal. I think that's one that could be a really promising signing if they can keep him fit and get him firing again. Joel Cotterill on loan from Swansea City, defensive midfielder. And then Francisco Valenzuela, the 18-year-old striker, on loan from Monterrey, who's, I believe, pretty highly rated. We've seen that link between Dundee and some Mexican players in the past. And then the final one is Harry Sharp. It was the end of his loan at Montrose. So I believe he's returning. And then the players that went out, Platin Galibov went to a team in Kazakhstan on a free. I remember him signing. That one didn't really work out too well. Emil Aqua went on loan to Harrogate Town. Harry Sharp went on loan to Montrose twice, it says here. So I don't know if he's at Montrose or not. I imagine he's been recalled and then sent back out to Montrose. And then another player from Monterey who we didn't see too much, or we did see a little bit, Cesar Garza, whose loan has expired. So he's went back over to Mexico. So what do we think of this window? First initial thoughts.
I think this is a really strong window. It might be the strongest one we've seen so far, I think, for Dundee.
Oh.
I think that especially their treble of signings yesterday. Really, really positive. I think Scott Wright's a good signing. Valenzuela, we're maybe we'll see something from him. Bringing in a centre back, sorry, a defender. I'm not sure what position he is. I'm assuming he's centre back. Monsma,
Centre back, yeah,
is a good business. I think utilising the loan market effectively again as well. I think this is good business from Dundee. And I think I'm putting them at the top of good. I think this is the best window so far.
Oh, that's a shout. I think I would probably have
Scott Wright just tips it over the edge for me.
Yeah, Scott Wright is a quality signing if they can get him fit and firing, because I think that's possibly been the problem for him since he went down south after leaving Rangers. So yeah, that's one that could certainly work out for him. I remember Joel Cotterill being on loan at Swindon Town from Swansea, and now he obviously finds himself in the Scottish Premiership. Still 21, so a lot of opportunity for him to develop.
How do you know he was on loan at Swindon, Ethan?
Because I used to be a Swindon Town fan. No, it was a Swindon Town career mode a couple of FIFAs ago that I had him on loan. He was all right. He was a decent player in midfield.
Not as good as Hepburn Murphy, eh?
No, he wasn't as good as Hepburn Murphy. He was an excellent player for me. Anyway, that's enough of career mode talk. I'd agree. I think it's been a good window for Dundee. I'd have them below Kilmarnock, but I'd probably have them second of the teams we've seen so far.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd probably agree.
Next up is Dundee United. I'm going to double check that.
Sorry for everyone. I'm currently eating down the mic. I think it is Dundee United.
Yes, it is Dundee United. Below Aberdeen and at the top of the bottom six. So Dundee United, obviously, they've been known over the last couple of seasons for their what you could call crazy transfer approach, going into different markets all over the world. And let me see what they brought in this winter. Okay, so they brought in Ashley Maynard Brewer from Charlton Athletic, which obviously made his debut at the weekend. I was pretty impressed with him, an improvement on what they had in the sticks before, so that's certainly a good start. Emmanuel Aguirre, the central midfielder they brought in from FC Ashdod, I believe that was on deadline day as well, 21-year-old. Neil Farrugia, a left midfielder from Barnsley. And then goalkeeper Rory Adams, it was the end of his loan at East Fife, as well as the end of Lewis O'Donnell's loan at Cove Rangers. In terms of outgoings, this one was quite a while ago, but I'm going to read out because he brings back some funny memories. Yevgeny Kucherenko to Panathinaikos. That one was quite a while ago, though. I think that was before January. And then Owen Sturtons went on loan to Airdrieonians. They've not brought in too many, but Sorry, my throat is struggling here. They've not brought in too many bodies, Dundee United, but I think goalkeeper was the main position they had to address, and it looks like they've done that. So I think this is going to be another decent one. I don't know if we're being too nice. No,
No, no, I don't think they've brought in enough.
you don't
Um,
think?
I don't think they've strengthened enough at all. They've been struggling this season. They've been inconsistent. Some players look class one week and then look awful the next. I mean, I think Bert Esselink's a perfect example of that. Others like Rico Seve, he looks good one week and terrible the next. I mean, they need consistency. I think they needed to strengthen a bit more. So I'm going to put them in bad.
You know what? I'm looking at their squad, and I'll maybe tend to agree. They obviously brought in a lot of players, massive turnover in the summer as they done the previous summer. It worked out for them, getting them top six in European places. That doesn't seem like it's going to happen this time around. So maybe I will agree with you because they have only brought in three players on the face of it, and I know one of them's addressing a key area that they needed to, but I think they need more quality across the squad if they want to really have aspirations of going for the top six. But at the same time, Dundee United, only their second season in the league. I imagine their first priority is staying in the division, and they certainly look like doing that in a minute, but not the best transfer window. So, yeah, and we've got to put someone in bad as well. So, yeah, Dundee United can go into bad. And then we can round off the bottom six with the Dons, Aberdeen, who probably in a difficult situation, maybe like another club in the league where they don't know if their manager is going to be the answer for a long term basis. So whether they go and buy players or buy too many players is well possibly a conundrum that the board have. Let me see who they brought in this winter.
I've
Okay,
got I've got it now if you want.
yeah.
Um,
If you want to read through it, then go ahead.
so they've got they started the business quite late on the 19th of January, but since then they've done quite a lot of business. So they brought in Lyle Cameron on loan from Rangers until the end of the season. Liam Morrison on loan from QPR, young centre back. Toyusi Olasanya comes back to Scotland on loan from Houston Dynamos. I think that's a good signing. They brought in a goalkeeper, which I think was needed, per Christian Bradveit, I'm going to go with. He's been brought in. Obviously, a lot of fans have been calling for Dimitar Mitov to maybe stay at the team. I think we saw it again at the weekend. Some poor goalkeeping that led to a goal. Poor defending as well. You can't blame it solely on him, but he's part of the problem. And then they brought in Afiza Remu from Kaiserslautern on a permanent deal, Nigerian midfielder. And yesterday they brought in Dennis Geiger on loan with an option to buy from Hoffenheim. First of all, just looking at the incomings, I think this has been a terrific window from Aberdeen. They've strengthened in the areas I think they need to strengthen in. They've brought in three midfielders, which the centre of the park was an area I think they've struggled. They brought in some attacking strength in Olasanya. They brought in another centre back. They brought in a goalkeeper, so they've strengthened in almost every area of the pitch. Oh, and obviously today, like I mentioned in the intro, they announced the signing of Tom McIntyre as well on a free transfer, a short-term contract until the end of the season. So I think it's been a really, really good window for Aberdeen. I'm just going to have a look at the outgoings. Obviously, Cassini Yengi went to Cesaro Osaka on loan to the end of the season. Leighton Clarkson departed permanently to Blackpool. Dante Polvara left permanently to go to St. Louis City. Esther Sokler left permanently to go to FK Radnicki. Vicente Bezu, I can never pronounce his name. Bezuin is still there, and he's went on loan again. And that was sort of their outgoings. I think this is a really good one, though. They got rid of some players that are maybe, I think, dead weight for them, and they've brought in some good players to strengthen the squad.
Yeah, possibly, but they also had a few key players in that squad that obviously went back to their parent clubs. Jesper Karlsson's, Adil Elcic, and Alfie Dorrington. I know he was injured for most of the season, but the two previous players I mentioned, they're big players. Maybe Aberdeen's best this season are certainly up there. So I think they're going to be big blows.
I don't know. Carlson's been guff.
He's the top scorer.
Yeah, just you wait for the Olasanya train to start.
Ah, well, I hope he does, because he's an exciting player, and I loved him when he was at St Mirren. But I don't know.
I disagree. I think this is in a really good window for Aberdeen.
Maybe they brought in a lot of players that we haven't seen yet. In fairness, I mean, they didn't play at the weekend. You seen Liam Morrison start at the weekend, the former Bayern Munich centre back, and Lyle Cameron as well. We've seen play a few games, but they've got a few players in there from Germany that haven't played yet. The goalkeeper, I don't imagine, is going to displace Dimitar Mitov anytime soon, but he might if Mitov keeps underperforming and keeps the growing discontent from the supporters there. Uh, maybe I'll go. I'll go. I don't know. I want to say bad for this one, just on the players they've
Wow,
lost.
I'm thinking good.
Well, we'll have to go decent then in the middle. I just think that the players that they've brought in, they've lost a lot of key players. Polvara, Clarkson,
They
Carlson,
weren't key
Alcic.
players though. Povara and
They
Clark.
were. Well, Clarkson wasn't a key player, but he
Povara
played.
wasn't a key player either.
They played a lot. They played the games. They did contribute.
Yeah, but they're not key players. Povara and Clarkson. I'd even argue Sheesh wasn't a key player.
Well, what I've seen from Aberdeen fans, maybe it was earlier in the season, but they said he was performing well and he wasn't the problem. So I think we'll agree to disagree in the decent category.
Okay, fine. That'll do it for the bottom six, and we'll be moving on to the top. Moving on to the top six now, we are going with Falkirk here, and they have had a decent window. Um, Ben Parkinson brought in. Unfortunately, he is now injured. Serious ankle injury. He could be out for the rest of the season. And he does require surgery. So not a great start. Louis Marsh brought in on loan from Sheffield United, and Ben Brogio brought in on loan from Aston Villa. And in terms of their outgoings, Thomas Lang has gone to Arbroath. Flynn McCaffrey has gone on loan to East Stirling. Alfie Aguiman has gone on loan to St Johnstone. And obviously, they lost Scott Arfield to Livingston. So, not the most active transfer window for Falkirk. Three signings in the door, one of them now unable to play. I think that really takes away from how positive I think their window was looking, because Ben Parkinson did look like a really good signing out now. What do you make of this, Ethan?
Yeah, it's the same as the summer. I think for Falkirk, John McGlynn's not brought in a lot of volume. He's went more for the approach of identifying players that he really wants to bring in and getting them over the line. Obviously, maybe well, it's not a signing, but the fact he recalled Barney Stewart was the end of his loan at Dunfermline. Obviously, came back to dramatic effect when he got that hat trick against Hibernian. I seen Louis Marsh at the weekend. He looked okay. He didn't do anything special, but I think he'll be a player to contribute as well. So, and then obviously they got Ben Brogio yesterday from Aston Villa. So I think the Falkirk fans are pretty happy with what they've got and what they've brought in. They've not lost too much either. Alfie Agiman obviously contributed here and there, but I think it's probably better that he goes and contributes to something else with St Johnstone, and then comes back to Falkirk probably, and hopefully for John McGlynn and the Falkirk a better place in the summer. Sorry. So yeah, I don't think it's anything special, but I don't think it's bad from Falkirk. I'm just going to go decent. Yeah, I think it's bang average, decent, okay.
Okay. Um, I think I'd agree, probably just bang average, sort of fine with that one. I was just looking at Hibs signings there and I realised I made a mistake in the video I put out today. I called Felix Paslak a left back. Such an idiot. He's a right mid slash right
He's a
wing.
right mid.
Yeah,
I think he's very versatile. I'm pretty sure he's played on both the left and right sides. I remember him most as a right back, probably, but yeah, obviously it's been a few years now since he was at Borussia Dortmund.
yeah. Well, I'll put Falkirk decent as well, and we'll move on to Hibs now. They've done a lot of business in the last 5 days of the window. They brought in Owen Elding, League of Ireland Player of the Year on a permanent deal from Sligo Rovers. They've loaned in Kai Andrews from Coventry. They have loaned in Dane Scarlett from Tottenham. They've signed Felix Paslak on a permanent transfer, Ante Suto on a permanent transfer, and Minash Garanga on a permanent transfer. In terms of players going out, it's been fairly busy on that front. Obviously, Kieran Bowie has gone to Hellas Verona for a club record sale. Dylan Levitt has gone to Leyton Orient. Junior Hoylett has gone to Swindon Town, both permanent deals. But I think this one takes it into the bad category for me. Thibaut Clige, their club record signing, has been loaned out to Randers in the Danish Super League.
That's I don't know when I completely missed that one. That's my first time seeing that. Yeah, that is a bit of a strange one. Obviously, they bring in two strikers, or three strikers rather. So maybe that gives room to loan out Clegy if David Gray obviously doesn't really fancy him to carry the responsibility that Kieran Bowie's left behind. So yeah, I think that is. I probably would have had Hibs good easily. The fact they got the amount of money they did for Kieran Bowie, they brought in three strikers of different ages, two really talented players who have got high expectations in their own rights. Obviously, the permanent deal for Elding, the loan for Scarlett. Then they've brought in Suto, who's got a decent goal and assist return this season in the Croatian league. And then they brought in the experience that Paslak and then Kai Andrews, who obviously I think had a loan spell at Motherwell last season, or was that the start of this season? One of the two anyway. So yeah, but that one of Thibaut Clige going out on loan is a bit of a strange one, but I'm willing to look over it and still say it's a good window for Hibs.
Yeah. I would probably agree in terms of the incomings. I mean, I just think their club record signing going out on loans a bit like,
Weird.
yeah, it makes it look like they're a bit of a tin pot club, but
How does it?
loaning out your club record signing.
That doesn't. I'd say that makes the opposite, but I just think it's weird that it seems like they're giving up on them already.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's maybe the offer was too good for him to turn down as a player in a club. Obviously, loan deals can have loan fees and stuff like that. And they're really happy with the strikers they've brought in. It's cleared space for Clegiate to go out on loan. But yeah, it's a strange one to bring a guy in for a record fee who, on the face of it, didn't look like he was going to get in the starting 11 to start with. And then usually what you would think is that when you do sell your other striker for a club record sale, that you've got your record signing to come in and contribute. But that's obviously not been in David Gray or Hibs' plans, and they've loaned them out. But I'd still say it's a good window because they brought in a good volume, good quality of player as well. And to get £7 million for Kieran Bowie will help them immensely in the summer when they
Yeah.
look to turn over their squad for next season.
Yeah, okay. I'll put them into good. I'll put them into good. Moving on to Motherwell. They didn't have a particularly active window. The only incomings is Ethor Martin Bjorgolfsson and Stephen Welsh coming back after being recalled, cup tied by Celtic. And now he's back at Motherwell for the remainder of the campaign. In terms of their outgoings, Kofi Balmer, Dylan Wells, and Philip Steperovic. So I don't think Motherwell really needed to do anything. I think the main bonus for them is holding on to Tawanda Maswanise.
Yeah.
I think Motherwell were in a position where, they didn't really need to strengthen. So I think they've had a good window. I'd put them into good just for the fact they
Yeah,
held on to Maswanise.
yeah, I would as well. Obviously, on the face of it, doesn't look like they've been up to much, both on the sort of letting go front and the bringing in players front. But they didn't need to be, as you said, in a very strong position. They've got excellent momentum in the league and the Scottish Cup, and they've held on to their best player, which is probably, if things go well for him and he continues on the trajectory he's been on, certainly since coming back from AFCON, and he will break the Lennon Miller transfer record set in the summer. So yeah, I think it's a really good window for Motherwell to hold on to all their key assets. And yeah, I think you can say that for a number of clubs in the league. And I think we've seen that clubs are willing to show more bravery to hold on to their players, and it is really encouraging. I was actually going to pick out an example. I think it was Luke Graham. I can't remember what team it was. The Dundee, I believe, received a 7 million. Not seven, sorry, not 7 million, a seven-digit offer for Luke Graham, and knocked it back. So they're obviously wanting to keep a hold of him as well. So yeah, it shows the intent the clubs have across the league to really compete in the second half of the season. It's excellent to see. So yeah, I'd agree. I think I'm putting Motherwell in good.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, Moving on now to third placed Rangers, who I'm pretty pleased with this transfer window. They brought in Toji Chikwani, two Romans, Andreas Skov with a loan with an option to buy at the end of the season, and Ryan Naderi from Hansa Rostock. I mean, if we're going to put like a winners of the transfer window, I think we would need to put in Hansa Rostock, um, because they've played the game to perfection on that transfer. They've held Rangers over a barrel for the past few days. Rangers were clearly desperate to get their man, and the fee went from £2.6 million to £5 million. Um, Over the course of a few days, so almost doubling in price. And apparently, there's a 20% sell-on clause in the deal. So maybe not the smartest business in terms of thinking for the long term, but excuse me, if Danny Rowe thinks this is Rangers' man to come in for the striker position, then Rangers have got their man through the door. Fair enough. The most expensive ever transfer in the German third tier. So the Dreibold.
Not surprising either. I don't know what the quoted fee before that was, but as you said, it shows the ambition that Rangers have this season. They obviously spent quite a lot in the summer. They've spent quite a lot again in January, over €10 million. And yeah, if Danny Rowe sees something in this guy that can change Rangers' fortunes in the striker position, then why not go and get him? It shows the confidence that the 49ers have in the man they've got in the dugout to go and get players and assemble a squad that's good enough to obviously immediately win the Scottish Premiership title, but go on and be the biggest force in Scottish football for years to come. I think Romans, obviously, we've not seen him a lot. I think he's been injured. And obviously, Jaden McGoma, that was a position Rangers were a bit short numerically, on top of maybe quality wise. I think McGoma's been okay, but if you were picking out one of the maybe weakest positions in that Rangers side,
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah, he's not one of the weakest possessions in Rangers side. Jaden McGoma's been good. I just think you need someone to help him out.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. Maybe
It's
I'm
his
being a bit harsh on him.
it's his first season of senior football, and he's played almost every single game. 19-year-old on loan from Brentford playing for a club like Rangers. So,
Well, what is Rangers' weakest position? Got a striker, probably,
yeah,
before we've seen Ryan Nadiri.
yeah, probably striker. I would say right back's not the strongest either. I mean, when Dujon Sterling's fit, he's very good, but he's very rarely fit. And Tavernier's okay, but you can see age is catching up with him. I still don't like Max Aarons, so I'd maybe say right back or striker.
Is Thingy injured? Jeffy, is he's been injured the whole season, hasn't he? Or did he go?
Are you taking the mick?
No.
Jeffy was sold for 6 million in the summer.
Oh yeah, so he was. So he was. I don't know why I still thought he was. I thought he was. I thought he was sitting in the back of Rangers injured.
Top tier journalism, ladies and gentlemen. We'll
Wait,
move
who did
on
he go?
to
Who did he go to?
Palmeiras.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
So,
Because he was linked with Chelsea as well, wasn't he?
yeah, he was for a bit. Yeah,
I just completely forgot about him. To be honest,
I'd
I got reminded of him because I seen Oscar Cortez coming back from his loan and being loaned out again to another side.
yeah. Well,
Um,
if you let me finish my sentence, I'll get on to that. So Rangers departures this January window. Oscar Cortez came back from his loan at Sporting Gijón. He was then loaned out to Huracan and Argentina. A couple of youngsters, Louis Stewart and Callum Adamson, going to Alloa Athletic, part of the cooperation agreement. Lyle Cameron going on loan to Aberdeen. Kieran Dowell has gone to Hull City. Finlay Curtis on loan to Kilmarnock. Joe Rothwell on a permanent transfer to Sheffield United. Thank God for that. And Clinton Enciala has left to rejoin with former Rangers assistant coach Assam Chirai. He goes to Westerlo in the Belgian Pro League on loan with an option to buy. So I think Rangers have had a good window. I think the signings are good. I think they still need to get up to speed. The likes of Scott Olsen and Chikwani still look like they need to get up to speed. Obviously, Romans yet to make an appearance, and Naderi is a big gamble, massive gamble. But if he's the man to help propel Rangers to this league title, then it's a gamble worth taking. So yeah, right now I'd probably put Rangers in good.
yeah,
Before
I'd agree. I think Rangers have had a good window. They brought in strengthened areas that they needed to do. Obviously, having when Jeffy comes back, that'll be a big
oh,
help as well. But no, and then they've obviously got rid of some of the deadwood in the squad, which I imagine they were paying quite healthy wages to, and your Joe Rothwells and Kieran Dowells. So yeah, it's been a good window for Rangers, and I know maybe the striker was a doubt whether they were going to get one when the Archer deal fell through, but they were always wanting Ryan Nadiri throughout the window. So yeah, Rangers will be hoping that he can live up to the price tag and the expectation I think Danny Rose placed on him. But I think the other strikers need to do more as well at Rangers. I think I've said that enough. But yeah, good window for Rangers.
Yep. Moving on to Celtic, and I was right. Celtic did not spend a penny in transfer fees over this January transfer window. Not for lack of trying though on one of the signings, but they have made 5 loan signings. Julian Araujo on loan to the end of the season. Thomas Savanchara on loan to the end of the season. Joel Mvuka and Junior Adamu both in on loan with options to buy, and Benjamin Arthur on loan from Brentford until the end of the season. In terms of outgoings, nothing like major. Johnny Kenny, Hayato Inamura, Shin Yamada all going out on loan. Stephen Welsh going back out on loan. And Toby Olawiyemi leaving on a permanent deal, as we mentioned earlier. But I feel like Celtic have strengthened in areas that they need strengthened. They've brought in some attacking talent like Junior Adamu, like Joel Mvuka. Steven Chara looks okay so far. Araujo looks fine. He's not um, he's not like a groundbreaking talent or anything, but he looks
No,
solid.
I don't know. I think that maybe is understating him a little bit. I think Julian Araujo's been really really good for Celtic, but I know he's not groundbreaking by any means, but he's a lot better than I think what Celtic had
Yeah, I know. I'm
playing in
I'm
that
not saying he's
position
bad.
previously.
I'm just saying he's been
No,
solid.
I know you're not, but no, but I think he's been one of the standouts in a few of the, or one of the standouts from a Celtic point of view in a few of the games. So yeah, I think the two guys we've seen so far have been positive additions for Celtic. Obviously, Thomas Chivanchara gets the assist at Tynecastle and the goal. Really nice finish at Celtic Park on Sunday. So yeah, I think that they two have looked good, and if the other three to come in, I don't think we'll see a lot of Benjamin Arthur unless it's injuries, because I believe he's probably going to be fourth choice central defender. It begs the question, why didn't they just keep Stephen Welsh, who's obviously got more experience and has played in the Scottish Premiership this season to a good performance level. I'd imagine at this stage of Stephen Welsh's career, though, he probably wants first team football, and I'm glad that he's getting that in Motherwell. But yeah, Joel and Vuka, obviously, I think the situation around that probably summed up Celtic's transfer window. But they do obviously.
I'm just looking at his statistics now as well. It's not pretty viewing for Joel Mvuka. Um,
Yeah, I know. It's not a great return at all. And I think that's why Celtic fans have been sceptical over that signing. And yeah, maybe it'll be a better approach now that it's a loan to buy rather than they're completely buying the player. But um, in terms of Junior Adamu, I think it's a £4 million buy option. I think he could be a good player for Celtic. Still a lot of a bit of development at 24. He's obviously been a highly rated player in the past at Salzburg. It's never really worked out for him since going to Freiburg, but I think it's been an okay window for Celtic. It's not been bad, or maybe it has been bad, but I think I'd put them in decent.
yeah, I'd probably agree if you're just looking at the face of it. Celtic fans might say they've had a bad window, um, because they're fuming all the time now. But I'd probably put them in decent as well. I think the balance of sort of the quality of signings, I think, is quite good. Uh, you've although what I will say is nearly every single one of them is a gamble. Um, they're picking up players who haven't been performing in their own divisions, and obviously young, unproven player like Benjamin Arthur. Steven Chara hasn't been performing. Excuse me. Julian Araujo struggled for games because of injuries at Bournemouth. Um, Adamu and Mvuka aren't performing, but what I will say is at least one point in their careers they've shown they're good players. So maybe this is the place for them to reignite their careers. So I'd say just on
Yeah.
that, I'd say it's a decent window for Celtic.
Yeah, I'd completely agree with that, and I think Celtic could have went and got players from untapped markets that have been really top of their league, successful players. But I don't think anyone expected Celtic to do that, and it's really difficult to do that, especially if you're not looking to spend money. You're not going to be able to loan in a player that's performing well in the league. It just doesn't really happen. So yeah, obviously, I don't know if they don't want to spend too much money because Martin Neal's only going to be about until the summer, we expect. I don't really know. You can only speculate with these kind of stuff. But based off the two signings we've seen so far, if the other three are to contribute as much, I think there'll be big parts. They'll have parts to play, sorry, for Celtic between now and the end of the season in all three competitions. They probably what maybe would have flipped it, and some Celtic fans would have probably bit your hand off for the fee that was being offered. I think if Arnie Engels was sold for any price, then Celtic, it would have been a bad transfer window because Celtic would have come out the window weaker than they started it. So yeah,
What if
but obviously
what
they
if
held
Forest had
on to.
just what if Forest had just doubled it and put 50 mil on the table?
No, they obviously would have had to sell him, wouldn't they? But yeah, I think Engels is not everyone's cup of tea. We've seen that, but he's a better midfielder than £25 million. So yeah, I think they had to keep a hold of him, and I think they'll be able to get money probably close to that in the summer. Anyway, maybe not 25 million, but maybe £20 million or something like that, because he's still young. He's got a lot of talent, and he's very highly admired across some of the elite European leagues. Of what we hear is correct.
Strangely enough.
Well,
So,
it's you can't say strangely enough if multiple clubs are interested in them. There's obviously some reason why they are.
well, I can say strangely enough because I don't see the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, but you're not a football club. And you're not a scout.
No, I'm not. I'm a man with two perfectly working eyes. So I don't know what those guys are seeing that I'm not. But anyway, um,
Well, he's a you can see. I know he's very inconsistent, but I think you can see why clubs are after him.
I've not seen it once.
Yeah, well, you don't watch him as much as I do, so
Yeah. Okay. See, if you just turned the camera around, he'd have an RA Engels poster up on his wall. But no, moving on to
yeah,
Hart.
it's right there. It's a signed shirt actually, Arne Engels,
All right, okay. So
and
sorry,
a signed match ball as well.
I thought the shirt was the one you slept with, not the one you put on your wall.
No, I take it off the wall.
All
That's
right, okay.
yeah.
Now that we've cleared that up, moving on to top of the table, Hearts, and they've had a very positive window. They brought in Jordi Altenya from RKC Valvik. They brought in Islam Cheskinov from Tobol. No, sorry, Chesnikov. I keep saying his name wrong. From Tobol Costanay. They brought in Rogers Mato on a pre-contract, and then they just went ahead and signed him on loan. So fair play to them, and they'll get him on a free at the end of the season. They've got Josh McPake on a pre-contract, and they've got Mark Leonard on loan from Birmingham City. In terms of the outgoings, Harry Stone, Kenneth Vargas, Xander Clark, Sander Eric Khartoum. Nothing of real consequence there, but the big story is James Wilson has gone on loan to Tottenham with an option to buy at the end of the season. We were speaking about it last night. I think it's a strange move for Wilson personally, but fair enough. He's probably going to be on a lot of money down south in North London. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's a strange move, but it's an excellent opportunity for him as a player to go and prove himself, and the facilities they'll have obviously down there, an excellent stadium if he gets to play in it, and based on Spurs striker options and the lack of quality and a few injuries, and he could be part of Thomas Frank's matchday squad. So hopefully he goes down there and rips it up from a Scotland point of view, and he's probably got a better chance at doing something down there than he has had Hearts this season, based off of Hearts' striker options. He doesn't really seem to be getting a look in under Derek McInnes this season, which is completely fair enough. They've obviously got some excellent options in that position. We've seen Kabore score a pair at the weekend, and then they've obviously got Rogers Mata, who is more a winger, but I think can play through the middle, and I think looks like an excellent signing. And the fact they've been able to move his signing forward, obviously alone this season, but they will get him on a permanent basis in the summer. I think that's an excellent bit of business, and yeah, I think all the players we've seen from Hearts so far look like they're going to contribute. Like Leonard's come in and played in some big games. I thought he took a wee bit to get adjusted to the game against Celtic, but I thought he was really solid. Um, and he's played a big part so far already. So yeah, I think it's a good window for Hearts. They've kept a hold of their key assets and added to it to replace the key injuries to Cammy Devlin and Lauren Shanklin. So yeah, a good window for Derek McInnes and Tony Bloom.
yeah. Um, So we've come to the end of this, and we've sort of assessed it now. Who do you think deserves that top spot, the best transfer window? I've got two teams in mind. So
what team's been had the strongest transfer window? I am going to go with. Okay, there's quite a lot. We've put quite a lot of teams in good, but I'm going to go with just based off what the revenue they picked up and the fact that I think they've strengthened their squad. I'm going to go with the Highbees.
okay, fair enough.
You didn't expect me to go there.
No, I didn't, because I was leaning towards putting them in decent. So, um, um, I'm gonna go. I was thinking between Hearts and Motherwell. So I think I'm gonna go with Motherwell. Just the fact they've kept their squad basically together. They haven't lost any key players. They haven't lost the best player in the SPFL. And so yeah, I'm gonna go with Motherwell.
It's a difficult one to choose because there's a different ways, sorry, of looking at it. I think you make a good point with Hearts and Motherwell that they're in positions of power and they've kept all their strong players, the best player in the league at the moment, I think, and to land a Maswanise at Motherwell. So yeah, but I think that it's excellent money they got for Kieran Bibi for what he was offering. I think at the start of the season he was excellent, but he sort of faded off a little bit and. They've obviously brought in some other strikers, which surely between the three of them that they brought in can, I know it doesn't always work out this way, but can contribute as much as he did. And then they've strengthened in other areas. So, yeah, I just really like what Hibs have done. And David Gray will be hoping it can um, boost their chances of, well, catching Motherwell or probably more realistically staying ahead of Falkirk, who are on a really good run. I know they've lost to Celtic twice recently, but that's nothing to be ashamed of for the size of their squad and from coming up from the Championship just in the summer there.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. But I think that'll do it for today's sort of transfer roundup. We hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry about the delay on the other episode. I actually need to go and upload that very well, like right after this recording. So, hopefully you viewed that. And if you haven't, go back and check it out. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Like and subscribe. Let us know who you think had the best January transfer window down in the comments. Let us know if you think your club should have brought in more. Shine a light on it for us. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. Like I said, follow the TikTok, follow the Twitter, go check out the Spotify. Thank you and goodbye.